Sean Henson for Sprint8 Part 3. So before I get started with the rest of the presentation, I'm just going to show you the tractor mode real quick. So I'm just going to bring that up real quick. So you can see he moves around, interacts with the field, and resets. So cancel that out for now. So let's cover the rest of the critters, and then we'll move on to the managers. So the flea spawns using the factory, singleton, recycling. I can continue on saying that, but all my factories do that, so I'm just going to stop with this iteration. So the flea was a simple task. I just had to make a random number generator for where he spawns. So when he spawns, it calls random number generator, and that takes the position X of that and will drop him there, because the height is always predetermined. He's always going to drop from a specific height, but where he's going to end up on the X coordinate varies strongly, because he's always going to start at the top and end at the bottom. So that was simple and easy to do. He uses the add mushroom function from the mushroom field. And this also uses code reminiscent of the add mushroom code to ensure he's lined up with the grid. Actually, all my flea, scorpion, and my spider have this code. That way they're lined up with the grid, and it's all nice and smooth across. So scorpion, he's kind of the same thing, only this, when he collides with a mushroom, he tells it to switch its state, so I won't open him up. You can look at him over here if need be. And the spider, the only unique thing about the spider is he has the change score based on his distance from the player, and I have him move on a count pattern, so he just has a simple pattern. If I wanted to fix this up, I'd make this random later on, but that's up to the designers to tell me later on. Right now I think a simple list will work. So for the destroy, it adds a spider effect. No, not spider. So when the spider hits the bullets, it calls the spider number. So let's go to the definition, which is in the player controller, and we'll get to this in a little bit. So the player controller right now handles it, so it takes the distance that the spider has, the spider distance. It gets the distance from the ship. No, sorry. So this is just a placeholder, distance. This is the spider position. So distance equals the AI ship minus the spider position, if it's track mode, otherwise it's player ship. Then it gets the X and Y, and then it just checks to see if they're less than or equal to 50, less than or equal to, less than or greater to 8, and then the score manager at score. So those are all the critters. So let's go to the managers next. Let's go to score manager, since I was just talking about him and his usefulness, and he's kind of a small manager. He's a singleton that should be using a strategy pattern to make this the most efficient manager known to me. But strategy patterns I started using later on in the project, so that only appears in one manager, and I'll show you that just after the score manager. So the score manager, he only has 3 functions: add player 2 score, so add score to player 2, HUD update, add score. So it asks, hey, am I in tractor mode? If it is, oh, I'll add to score bot. If I'm player 1 mode, add score to player 1, update to HUD. Else, I'll update the score to player 2. If I use a strategy pattern here, this would get rid of the last couple of if statements and really clean up this bit of code. But I didn't get time to clean up this code due to last bit of bugs. I had to figure out how to circumvent them to get a working game. So speaking of strategy patterns, let's go to the sound manager. So my sound manager is a strategy pattern that works off sound items, sound manager, and volume. So the sound items is the class that the sound manager uses to create the holders for the new muted and the new volume files or objects. And the current object is what object is being played. So when I'm in AI mode, the AI calls Sound Manager because it's a singleton and just says, hey, you're muted. And if it's one of the players, it just switches it to play. So all the sounds will play. And I can demonstrate that real quick by starting this up in player 1 mode. So once this loads up, I'll have the sound play. This will be the time to turn down your volume for a little bit. Nope, it's going to take a little bit to load. With old Camp Studio, it takes a little bit longer to load than usual. So here we go. So I'll turn on the sound. So yeah, you can hear the centipede going, hopefully. If not, I can quickly unplug it real quick. So let's hopefully this will do it. And if you cannot hear that, you'd be able to hear it by just starting up the project real quick, but otherwise, let's end that. And the last manager I'd like to cover in this part is the Wave Manager. So the Wave Manager reads from the text file Wave Manager text, and it reads it on initialization and stores it all in a Line Manager account. And stores it all in a Line Manager. And Line Manager is then used to update all the variables and next wave. So it'll call that specific file name and update. So the way my text file works, every 13 lines is a new wave. So when the wave updates, it goes up 13 and then updates the number centipede, the centi length, and the centi speed based on the format. It doesn't matter what the first object is because these are all even numbers. So every odd number is just a name, and it doesn't matter if the user spells those wrong or not. It'll be able to fix those just fine, and you can see that in my game components under Wave Manager, Wave Text, sorry. And that'll end part 3.